Hello, everyone. Matt Malatesta, Jackson DiPasquale. It is another big week here. This is On My Whistle. High school playoffs are playoffing right now. We're in the third round. Huge matchups. Okay, let's get right into it. North Shore, Katy at NRG on Friday. North Shore dismantled Ridge Point easily. Offense, defense, special teams being special. Does Katy have enough to kind of slow this offense down? And do they have enough on offense to put up enough points to beat a North Shore team?
I think Katie's rushing attack has been great all year. They've got the two running backs at Tremaine Hill and then Aquilas Jordan. Sorry if I pronounced your first name wrong. Both of them have been the 1-2 punch in that Katy backfield. And then they play action over the top to Aluda Judah, the wide receiver who's had a big year as well. My question mark is going to be, if North Shore gets up early on this Katy team, do they have enough firepower to get back into the game? A few years ago, we watched them play Westlake, and Westlake got up on them early, and they did not look back. Katy wasn't able to get back in the game because of how their offense is running the ball. I think North Shore is going to dominate offensively and be able to put up big numbers. I don't know if Katy will be able to get back into the game, though.
Katy's defense is always a factor. They just are so they're so well coached on the defensive side of the ball. I think that could slow North Shore down for a couple of quarters. And then I think they kind of extend the lead late in the game. But North Shore can't be prone to turning the ball over. And every possession must be very important. You got to score. If you got your foot on the neck of Katy, you better put them out because they can come back because they do it a multitude of different ways. Okay. So other games we like to talk about. You want to talk about Bay City. Bay City is making history. The Black Cats, 4A?
4A D1, 11-1. They won the district title for the first time in almost 20 years, Matt. It's a historic year for this Black Cats team. And then offensively, their quarterback's thrown for over 3,300 yards this year. They've got an electric offense. They rolled through district play. Now they're in the playoffs. They're 11-1. I expect the Black Cats to continue with a win over Cal Allen, I believe, this week to move on and keep going with this historic season. They have not won a state championship. Can you guess how long the last state championship for the Bay City Black Cats is?
50 years.
2000 was the last time they won the state championship. They will look to get back there this week.
So that's amazing for them. Great community, great football community, but they've been kind of off the grid for a while. Okay. I am a big fan of this Atascocita versus Fulshire game. I think Fulshire has the ability to slow this game down with their running attack. They're going to bludgeon you with the run. And does Atascocita have enough on defense to slow that down? Their chip away, 3, 6, 8 yards, first down, move the chains, eat up clock. Fulshire is dangerous in this game because I like what they do on offense. And I think they got enough defense. What do you think?
Yeah, you look at Fulshire's defense. Let's talk about them first because you brought them up. They've got 2 bookend defensive ends. That's going to be what I'm going to watch in this game. Can Sheldon Rice, the Houston commit, and Chance Bryant, the other Houston commit, can they contain Carde Mack in the pocket, not let him scramble, make plays with his feet? He can throw the ball, but that's not necessarily his strong suit of his game. Then can you stop Torrey Blaylock and just eliminate that run game? And then you're going to control the clock on offense because you're going to just go, like you said, 2-3 yards down the field. Patrick Broadway's had a big year for the Chargers. So has Zane Smith. I think Fulshire pulls off an upset. Even though that Fulshire is undefeated, Atascocita has been a top 5, top 10 team all year. I think Fulshire pulls off the upset in the city of Houston, moves on in their first year in 6A.
That's the thing. We think they're good. Their district is not super, super talented, but they've beaten the teams at the front end of their schedule that kind of says, hey, they can play with kind of anybody. Moving from 5 to 6A is a big deal. If they get behind, however, Atascocita is going to run away with it by 21 points just because they don't score quickly. So that's, I do like your taking Fulshire. I think it's kind of, nobody's really talking about Fulshire winning. I think they can win also, but they got to stay in the game as long as they can and then win it at the end because they don't have a quick strike offense. Okay. Another interesting game. Fort Bend Marshall, Iowa Colony. Woo! Athletes on top of athletes in this game. I think this is going to be interesting because Fort Bend Marshall has been those dudes for a long time now, reaching the state finals before a couple of times. Iowa Colony, new kids on the block, very young program. They're very close to each other in proximity. So they're kind of the same kids. And I just think that this is going to be a great game also at NRG Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Iowa Colony; they're 22-2 in the past 2 years,
It's crazy.
moving into actually like getting able to go to the playoffs, playing in district, have a chance to win a district title. They already played Marshall this year. They got the big win over Marshall earlier this year. I think this is a different Marshall team than they faced in district. Marshall's gotten some big wins. They beat Bastrop, who was undefeated last week.
Killed them.
Does the experience of these Fort Bend Marshall, because a lot of these kids that are seniors now were sophomores when they made it to the regional final, and I believe made it almost to they might have made the state semifinal and played P&G that year. But does the experience for Fort Bend Marshall outweigh Iowa Colony? They have all the athletes there, the new program, but do they have that experience to be able to play in a close, tough battle? I think it's going to be a lot closer than the district game, but I do think after watching what Iowa Colony did last week in the second half to Pflugerville, I think that defensively they're better than that Marshall offense, and I think offensively Carson White has it going right now.
Good for them. Iowa Colony, I love new schools that pop up and make long runs. Another school that does that is Randall. Randall is demolishing people. And he, one of our favorite programs, Coach Brian Randall does a great job over there. Great staff, great talent, well coached. And they got a little swag to them. They know they can win. I mean, I think, coaches aren't going to say, hey, man, we're going to win. We're going all the way. They kind of have that mindset in that locker room that this could be their year, that they make it to state. And they're such a new school. Can they reach state? Do they advance this week?
I think they do advance this week. They've outscored their opponents in the playoffs so far, 142 points to 7, which is crazy in the
absurd,
crazy in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. But the big matchup, this Brenham team is not to be slept on. They're very good as well. This is going to feature 2 of the top running backs in the country in the 2027 class. You got Landon Williams-Callis, the 5-star at Randall. He's rushed for, I believe, about 142 yards a game with 3 touchdowns. And then on the flip side for Brenham, Jacoby Manchild-Dixon. Look up a picture of this kid. The nickname fits the description. He has rushed for 187 yards per game with 3 touchdowns. He also is active out of the backfield as a receiver. This could be, I think it's going to be a very physical matchup both ways. Who can win the run game offensively and win up front? I think Randall does that and they move forward, but I think this is going to be a closer game than people think.
Okay, here we go. We're going to go on a quick run of games. Willis DeSoto. I think that, oh man, this is so hard to pick. I mean, just like, is it Willis's time right now? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to go Willis beating DeSoto. Their defense is going to give up some points, but Willis's offense is electric.
Yeah, Trent Miller has played this DeSoto team 4 times, 2 with spring. This will be his second year with Willis playing DeSoto. So he's familiar with what Willis or what DeSoto likes to do up front defensively. DeSoto lost some seniors on the defensive side of the ball. They still have the 2-time defensive MVP, Keelan Abrams. He's going to be the X factor for that defense that attack the quarterback, Jack Emerson. Willis, can you get the ball? If you can just get the ball to Jermaine Bishop, Jalen Mickens, or get the ball to your playmakers and let them make plays in space. I think it's a close one. I agree with you. I think this is Willis's year. This DeSoto team has already taken 2 losses, obviously to 2 state favorites in 6A D1 in North Crowley and Duncanville. I think Willis gets a win and pulls off it's not an upset, but it is an upset in 6A D2.
I think it's a big upset. But I think they got a puncher's chance of doing this. Okay, so Woodlands, Duncanville, no. Duncanville is looking very solid. The Woodlands is banged up on offense with the receivers. They don't have that ability to stretch the field with multiple receivers. I do like Jack Dalton, the quarterback. Their defense is okay. Dude, Duncansville is D1 quarterback, D1 receiver. I mean, not D1. I'm talking about elite, top kids in the country, like top 20 in their position. I think Duncanville is just too much for the Woodlands.
This is going to be a tough game for the Woodlands. I think that, if healthy, if they had Jackson Bollinger and Shane Walker, this is a different game because, they have two of their best playmakers there. But not to say they have Parker Stewart coming back from an injury. He'll be playing receiver. I think they'll try to figure out ways to get him in space. Really fast track kid that can take on the Duncanville secondary. But I think that it could be. We saw it a couple years ago. I think it'll be close first half. Woodlands is juice coming out, and then I think Duncanville's just the experience they have, the players they have. I think they'll maybe pull away with it in the second half. That is my
No.
pick.
I think it's going to be, well, I'm going to call it a 21-point game. And I love the Woodlands. I love what they do there. I just think they've kind of gotten bumped and bruised along the way, and they're just kind of playing with one arm behind their back. Okay, one other game. We don't talk enough about Bridgeland, the Bears, the Fighting Lonnie Madisons. They have an interesting game against Waxahachie. They have a sophomore quarterback that's got a bunch of offers. They run a very quick offense. They're very spread out. Can Bridgeland keep up with them? I don't know. I think that Bridgeland has the bigs up front. They can control the clock. They play two quarterbacks, which doesn't excite me that much because that means you don't have a quarterback. If you have two, no disrespect. No disrespect. I don't know if you say that. But their defense is good. Their offensive line, like I said, elite. But Waxahachie, we just don't know enough about them. They play in the district with DeSoto and Duncanville. That's tough. They're well primed for this game. I think Bridgeland is not going to be able to keep up with them on offense. I'm going Waxahachie.
I'm going the opposite. I'm going Bridgeland here. They've won some close games this year where they trailed late in the fourth quarter and they get touchdowns with about a minute left, 2 minutes left. They've been in those close games. They have that experience. I think dominating line of scrimmage offensively is going to be their key, and I know that they can do it. Cash Swab, the sophomore running back there, is awesome. If you haven't gotten to watch him play, go look up his tape. He's been phenomenal all year for them. He's going to be the bell cow for them offensively, and then playing some play action over the top of that, getting into your playmakers defensively. Look out for this defensive front of Bridgeland. They're pretty active, getting into the backfield, getting sacks, and causing turnovers. So I'm picking Bridgeland by 3 this week.
Okay, last game we're going to talk about. Here we go. Strake Jesuit versus Kingwood in a game of Johnny football. We got Johnny A. Bear, the superstar at Strake Jesuit. I got to see them last week. They played the Heights. They onside kicked. Literally every kick was an onside kick, and they got half of them. So they demolished the Heights. I do like what they do with A. Bear, but they have other players on that team. They have a really nice tight end, Hager Davis, 6'8". People are like, oh yeah, he's 6'8". This dude's every bit of 6'8". He might be 6'9". He's a giant giraffe. So he's got a huge wingspan. They can throw to him on some play action. Kingwood plays in the district with North Shore and Summer Creek and Atascocita. You are going to be ready for them. Kingwood is in a tremendous season. I think Kingwood wins this game just due to who they play in the regular season and who they've beaten, and they're grizzled. And Paul Wall's all about Kingwood. What's the deal with Paul Wall relationship with Kingwood? I don't even know what's going on there. Did he live in Kingwood?
I don't think so.
I don't know, but he's giving them some cool music and all kind of stuff. He's got some heavy drip over at Kingwood. Speaking of drip, I'm picking them by 14.
I'm going to pick Kingwood as well because Marquez Davis, the running back there, has been phenomenal this year. I believe he's rushed for over 2,000 yards now after last week. He has over 20 touchdowns rushing. This is going to be a rushing attack on both sides, trying to get your playmakers in the backfield the ball. I think Kingwood wins, and we talked about them a few weeks ago. We talked about when they played Elkins. The winner of this game is going to be a sneaky team in the playoffs that can make a regional final. Well, hey, we're here. They have a chance to make the regional final, and guess who they could play in the regional final?
Summer Creek, the district matchup. How about that? If we get to next week and the regional finals are North Shore versus Atascocita, Summer Creek versus Kingwood, all four from the same district. That would be wild.
Is there a better district in Texas high school football?
No. So here's what we're going to say. stay tuned. Get out to these games, man. These games are hot over Thanksgiving. Y'all ain't doing nothing. Y'all not doing anything after Thanksgiving. Just go out, catch a game, stay for 2 or 3 because they're all at the same place at NRG Stadium. We see 3 games and awesome players. And then check back to us. Jackson, Matt, this is On My Whistle, Houston's best podcast for high school sports. All right, y'all. Check in next week. We'll see y'all at the games.